Well, hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back into my mat. Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve. I wish you guys an amazing day. Here it's pouring cats and dogs, which is fine. It's fine. I'll tell you guys, I have champagne chilling in the fridge. I'm going to get some shrimp and maybe make myself a steak for a party of one and just spend it right here with you guys. And I don't know. I don't know what else I'm going to do, but I'll tell you, there's no shortage of things to do in my world. So maybe today I will just relax. So, my friends, I hope you guys are going to have a beautiful, safe day. And my friends, we're just going to make some beautiful things today for New Year's because we have to. Now, I did something last year where I did, I don't even know if it was a bracelet, but I don't know what I don't remember what I did, but I made something sparkly. Oh, that's what it was. I made the black and white tuxedo. Look, that's what I made. The black and white tuxedo, teardrop chain earrings, and the lariat for New Year's sparkle. And so what I decided this year is I wanted to do a little mini earring bash. So we'll just do a little mini party here. And we're going to make two beautiful pairs of earrings. And we're going to grab the monofilament for these. Now you can use any bead stringing wire or cording if you would like for these earrings. But guys, these are still very New Year's-y if you ask me. And I felt like these were really lending themselves to New Year's because, a lot of people wear purple, but even with black, or if you had some gold on with these bronzy coppers. So this is what I've come up with, my friends, and this is what we're going to make. So we're going to do the tassel. These are going to be like a shoulder dust, and then we'll do our standard teardrop and just make these simple but blingy nonetheless. So I hope you guys will enjoy and bead along with me. My friends, I will tell you the beads I'm using, but please remember, use any beads as always. That's why I also try to let you know what I'm using and the sizes, because sometimes we don't all always have the same thing, now do we? And I might want to stop and pause right here and mention my beautiful YouTube family. Look at what I'm wearing. I've just decided, you guys remember my unboxing about a month ago from my beautiful friend Call? Okay, this is her design. And look at how blingy and sparkly this is. And I'm like, ooh, I was really putting this away for the summer, but look at where it popped on December 31st, right on my wrist. Guys, I love this so much. So this beautiful bracelet, I thought was just so blingy and sparkly and kind of makes a statement on my mat, don't you think, for New Year's? So my friends, this is what we're gonna get into. We're going to make some ear wires as well. I'll go through, let me zoom you guys in and let's go through what we're going to use. So friends, we're going to use a whole bunch of 11-0s. I've got a bunch of 11-0 Tohos in the transparent amethyst. You can probably do 15-0s if you wanted. And we're using a bunch of those for both earrings. So my tassel and my teardrop. So use any color palette, of course. In between, I have here the 4mm metallic purple. So those are 4mm rondelles. Any 4mm you have, you can accomplish the same look. Then on the bottom, we are going to use 6mm rondelles. I've got them in the bronze here. And then these beautiful 4mm, if I can get a hold to them, these beautiful 4mm champagne bicones. So I did 6 for my tassel, 3 and 3. So 3 of the rondelles and 3 of the bicones on the bottom. And we are going to use a bead cap or a bead cone, 3 bead caps. I have this Imperial Jasper and then the Berry Zebra Jasper here. We're going to use some copper wire and do some beautiful little swirly swirls just because it looks pretty. And that's what we're going to make with that beautiful earring. This one is so simple, guys. For this one here, same exact colorway. I'm just doing it in a teardrop form here. So we've got the 4mm bicones. We have the 4mm rondelles. And then the 11-0 Tohos in between. Then I have that the rondelle shape of that Berry Zebra Jasper and 2 6mm 6mm rondelles, and then a clamshell, and then we'll do some ear wires. So I hope you guys will enjoy these fun earrings. These are stunning, you guys. I cannot even. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, let's get to it. So monofilament. Now, if you guys are not familiar with monofilament, let me show you what I use. And I offer this in my store. This is my favorite brand. I'm not affiliated, but it's what I use, the Stren. This is many reasons. One, it's just a great product for jewelry making, and it's made in the USA, so it can't ever go wrong with that. And I do offer this in my store, and this is 26 pound, right? So plenty good, strong enough to hold a multitude of jewelry designs that we want to make. So what I like about the monofilament on this is just look at how flowy, right, and dangly. They're so seriously lightweight, my friends. It just does not get any better with. Look how much I've got going on here. But I am telling you, these weigh just very, very next to nothing. Really, really lightweight. That's what I like. The monofilament and the 11Os lending themselves to a lighter weight earring, and equally the same over here. These just probably don't even weigh, but you know, maybe a half a gram or something. So that's what we're gonna use. Let's get into it. Now, for both of them, we'll make our ear wires. Let's go over here and make these guys first. And I measured about a 7-inch piece of monofilament. Okay? So about a 7-inch piece of monofilament that you'll need there. So we'll feed 5 on, and these are really easy to fish off your mat with the mono. You know, you can also use some wax cord. If it'll fit through your 11Os, you can use some wax cord or some fire line. Could use some fire line for this as well. Probably like some 5 or 6 pound, something like that. Or some bead stringing wire. Now, if you use bead stringing wire, I would probably go with 19 or 49 strand. You want to have a really flexible wire on your teardrops. So we've got 5, and then I'll put down the purple. And I'm gonna just keep alternating with 5 of my 11Os in between my bicones and my rondelles. So once I am finished putting on my pattern, right, I am going to put my tails together, and I am going to feed on my 8mm Berry Zebra Jasper Rondelle Gemstone. This one in particular has a lot of beautiful grays and some hints of pink in there. It's a beautiful gem strand. We're just going to feed that right on down. I'm going to put 2 of my 6mm. So these are 6mm rondelles, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my clamshell with the belly facing up, okay? So I'm going to put both of these strands through the clamshell with that belly facing up, right? And then I'm going to put on a crimp. And we're going to get this crimp down both wires. So we've just kept the wires together for the final part. So as soon as we were done stringing our teardrop, we kept the wires together to feed on 3 beads and a clamshell and a crimp. This is where I am now going to grab on standby my thin bent nose or your thin crimpers or thin chain nose, because you kind of got to get right in there. So you need a thinner pair of pliers for that. And all I'm going to do is basically kind of just hold it, right? And I'm going to pull each tail up. Okay, and then as I've pulled each tail up, I'm going to hold right on top of that clamshell and kind of just make sure that it looks the way I would like it to look. Okay, and then I'm going to go right in between that clamshell there and grab that crimp and give it a nice squoze. So we're going to go squoze, and hopefully with any luck that it grabbed onto both pieces of that mono. And in order to figure that out, we'll just do the tug test. And I'm pulling my clamshell, and voila, we are good. Now, before we close that up, we'll go ahead and let's trim off those tails. Now, I don't like to go too close to where the crimp was, but I do want to go right below where the clamshell is. So that will hide the wires. And then we'll go ahead and let's close that up. and we're good to go. Get some ear wires on there, but those are done. Okay. And what's also really nice about the mono on something like this, guys, when you're using, and we're going to do the same thing over here, but we're going to be doing craft wire if we need to turn our loops. So whether it's a clamshell or a wire wrap loop we're going to do, you do have opportunity here to move it back and forth, because the monofilament, guys, is just a really forgiving material. And, you know, again, that was kind of how I designed mine. You can do those, you know, any length you want. You can do a much smaller as well. So those are pretty much ready to go. Yay! All right, let's get into pair two. Now, pair two, guys, let me share with you what I've done here. Let me get all my beads out. Big, guys, was I cut 6 pieces of my 3-inch monofilament for each. So I did 12, okay? And then the first thing I'm gonna do is crimp that bottom on one side before I start to feed my beads. So let me show you that, what I did. So I'm going to grab a crimp. Let's get our hardware out here. And here's a crimp. Now, I'm doing the crimp on the bottom very different than the crimp on the top that I just showed you on the other pair. So on this one, let me get you in here, okay? So on this one, I am using this crimper. You can use your standard crimper, but you see that notch right there at the bottom, right, that looks like a little mountain? I am going right into that section, or you can go into section 1, 2, or 3 of this particular Xeron crimper. Okay, it's just completely up to you. So let's go into section 1, and we'll pull that way, way, way down, but we need to keep a little bit of a tail. Okay, and I'm gonna squeeze. Okay, so because of that right there, that'll make sense of how much tail is here, guys, when I show you what we're doing on the loops with the count of the seed beads. It'll make sense in a minute. So you can absolutely leave it like that. Do your tug test. It's in place. It's not going anywhere. It's going to secure your tassel. But what I've been doing is turning it like we do normal crimping and folding it in half. So I go very gently like that and try to not break it. It looks like I probably almost just about broke that one. Just about. I sure did. Okay, so we'll do it again. Hence, you gotta be careful not to break your crimp. But I felt like I wanted to fold these bottoms, guys, because it just looks cleaner on the bottom. So I'm gonna go right here to the edge, and I'm going to give it my first crimp. Okay, now it's flat. Now I'm gonna turn it to the side and ever so gently try to fold this in half. And I might have cracked it again. Let's see. I really want to make sure I'm pulling on it because I don't want to skip, or not only skip the step, but I don't want to rush this step, friends, because it would just be a waste, right, if we did not ensure, because this bottom crimp is holding the whole weight of your entire tassel. So I'm not going to want to rush this part. I really want to make sure that my crimp is on there. So I am like really tugging this mono and holding that crimp with my nail to make sure that it's on there. And it is. Okay. And this one I already finished. This one's done too. I'll give it a nice tug. So for this project, guys, I've already finished 4. Okay. And we have just 2 left. Okay. So let me get these out of the way. So we've got 4. I've got 2 left. So I'll show you how I did one, and then I'll fast forward because I'm doing all 6 of them exactly the same, okay? So we've got the crimp on the mono, and then we will put an 11-0 on. That's going to almost also act like a bead stopper. And it's just because of the beads I chose. Most of them are going to end up going right past that crimp and coming off. So I put an 11-0 on the bottom to act as a stopper for my tassel. And then I'm going to put a bicone. I did a bicone on 3 and then a rondelle on the bottom of 3. So this is my third one. I did 3 and 3. So 3 tassels with the bicone, 3 tassels with the rondelle on the bottom. The purple is all the way up. So then I'm doing 5 11-0s. And then I'm just going to go ahead and string on my purple between each run of 5. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. Can you guys hear that in the background, by the way? People are setting off fireworks. Even though, they're against the law to be doing that in your yards, people, what can you do? They just break the rules, and we all have to listen to it. I don't know. What are you going to do, guys? But sorry, if you can hear that in the background, people very close, I don't know where they are, but they're close enough that I can hear them, are like doing like bottle rockets or whatever situations in their backyards or whatever. Okay, so there's another 5, and then my 4th 4mm. So that is my pattern. And what I've done is 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 4mm purples on each of them. Okay, with 5 tohos in between. Now, here's the interesting thing that I found, and again, it was because of that tail situation I was just showing you. You might have a little bit more on your tail past your crimp on some of your strands than others, and all of your loops equally may not be the same. So what I tried to do here was put on 10 to finish this up. Now, most of this is going to be hidden under the bead cone, this part right here. Okay, so there's 6. So everything, that we're doing after that 4th, half of this is going to be under our bead cone. So there's 5. And then let me try to get another 5 on. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now in this case, I was able to get 5 on. And can you tell how much I have? Like maybe half of an inch of mono left. And I need to be able to pull that around and make a loop with my crimp, right? On a couple of mine, I was not able to do that. And so instead of, losing the whole thing, all I did, guys, was just put on like 9 11-ohs or 8 11-ohs. Okay? Because it's all right if some of them hang a smidge different, and 2 of these do, but you almost can't even tell. You almost can't even tell where I had to put like 9 on a couple and 10 on the rest. You almost can't even tell. It just hangs beautifully. So don't be detoured if you cut like 3 or 4 inches, however long you decide, and do something similar that you ran out. If you don't have enough room to turn and loop, like take a crimp, take off an 11-oh to give yourself enough room for a loop. Okay? And so I was able to get 10 on this one. So it's just the way that it happened to work out. So I do need another crimp. And let's finish this one off, and then I will fast forward and I will put the other one together, and then we will finish the whole top together. So I'm going to put a crimp on here. Okay, and now I'm going to grab my pliers. I like my thin tip there on these particular crimpers. You can use your thin chain nose, but a thin one, a thin tip pliers good. I'm going to feed that tail just through that crimp, right? I'm going to make it kind of come out the side, not through the seed beads. I don't want them through the seed beads because all of this is getting hidden. Again, we're not going to ever see any of this again, okay? So let's just get that down, okay? And there's my tail. So now what I want to do is kind of pull that crimp down, and this loop, I want to try to make it as small as I can. I do not need that big of a loop. And the other thing I just want you to be aware of is not necessarily all my loops are the same here. Okay? So this one is really small, that one's a little bigger, this one's even more bigger, and this one looks like it matches that one. So these loops do not have to be exact. Now you don't want too much differential between your loops, guys, but a little bit, it's not gonna hurt anybody. Now in this case, on this crimp, I'm gonna go to where that mountain is. Okay? I'm gonna go right there and force that in between that crimp, just like that. And I'm going to squeeze it. And that is really going to grab that and make it the half moon. And I'm not going to do anything else. So I'm going to leave it alone just like that. So everything is now nice and intact. Okay? So that is how I did all of my tassels. Let me go ahead, guys, and let me finish this last tassel, and we'll see you in just a minute. I have finished up my tassel. Let me pull you guys out a little bit. Um, Stringing my tassels, okay? So here's what I am going to do now. I'm going to use one consistent piece of wire to not only connect our tassels, we'll make a loop, hide under the bead cone, but also we are going to do a wire wrap loop here, and then we're going to bring that wire back down, and I just think that's a really pretty look. I think it looks really pretty, just really showcasing the wire, and then we'll make the matching ear wires for both. So this is what I'm using, my friends. I'm using the Para Wire 22 gauge in the antique copper color, okay? And I cut a 9-inch piece, and I have flush cut either side, and I have work hardened and straightened it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is come in now with my round nose pliers, and this is where we don't really need a lot of wire down here when we're starting, and nor do we really need to be too concerned about whether this is clean or messy looking loop, because we're getting ready to shove it under that bead cone. It'll never be seen again. So the only thing that I need to be mindful of is where on my cone I'm going with the wire for my loop, simply because I need to look at the cone. So I can see, you know, the way the top looks, but what I really want is to concern myself with the diameter on the inside of the bead cone, right? Because we want to make sure that the loop is small enough that it'll go up higher here, as high as it can go in the bead cone. We don't want it to be too low because you'll be able to see it, right? And also we want to make sure that we are putting all of these little doodads that we just did, all of this, right, which we don't care how that looked, right? We want to hide that forever, but we know it's secure and it's finished properly, and these will last for years. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a wire wrap loop that's about this big. Let me see here. This is where you kind of just almost have to eyeball it, guys. So I'm going to go about that big, and I think that's too small. Okay, so I'm going to open that up. So let me open that up and pull that down the cone a little more. Okay. And I'm going to go about there on my cone. Okay, let me pull you in. Okay, so I've got about that big now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that open, that loop, and we'll go ahead and feed our tassels on. Now what we're going to do here, what I did, you can do it anyway, but I just went and alternated with what type of bead was on the bottom here, right? So I'll start with, like, for example, I'll put my little loop that I made with the monofilament, right? Those little loops. That's what we feed on the wire. And so I started with the bicone there, and now I'll go with the rondelle, and we'll just feed those monofilament loops right on there. And then next one is a bicone and a rondelle. You can do as many as you want. I did 6 tassels. You could make it even fuller if you wanted. You could do 8. I think you could probably fit probably 8 under. This is a 10 millimeter bead cap. I think you can probably fit, well, this is 6. I think that if you look at that, I think we can probably fit 2 more. You can probably fit 8 inside there. And our last one. So hopefully it just gives you guys some inspiration and some ideas, and then you make it your own. Okay, so that's what I've got, right? So everything is in my loop, okay? Now what I'm going to want to do is I'm kind of going to hold this long piece of wire over here and this one, and I'm kind of going to go like this. I just kind of pulled and tugged on them, and just to make that a little less play within that loop, right? And now, of course, we will kick this long wire up, right? And then we'll just wrap that around just a couple of times. Again, messy or clean does not matter. This is all going under the bead cone. So I'm just gonna wrap this around a couple times here. And this is gonna secure our tassel in the loop, right? So I usually just go around a couple times. And then I'll trim that off. I'm not even going to bother to tuck it in because it doesn't matter. But I am going to straighten it out. So I do want to make sure that that is kind of straight. Okay, so now, so we have, now what we're going to do is, let me pull you back just a little bit. Okay, so we'll take now our bead cap and let's feed that down. Okay, and then I put, or a bead cone. Then I have 3 bead caps. These are 8mm and then a little 6mm. This came in the October bag. You can use any bead cap. So I first put this one, this larger one down. It looks so pretty on top of that bead cone. I like stacking them like that sometimes. And then I took the same exact one and fed it down my wire going the opposite direction. So it looks like that. Okay, and then we'll put a jasper and then the tiny little bead cap and then the imperial jasper. Look at that bead. Oh my gosh, that is a pretty gemstone. Okay, and now you've got something looks something like that. Okay, so at this point what I'm going to want to do is I kind of want to hang it like this. And I want to kind of just make sure everything is somewhat straight and symmetrical. I'm not going to be too picky, right? But I do want it to be as symmetrically centered on that bead cone here as I can get it. Because once I put this bend in and wrap this up, we're kind of committed, okay? So it looks pretty good to me. So I am now going to go ahead and put a right bend, or just put an angle in your wire, right? And let's start a wire wrap loop. Okay, so I'm going to go in and we're going to go about right here. I think I did about that size, yeah. And let's go ahead and pull the wire up and around and we'll do a wire wrap loop. Now right here what I did, let me get this straight, was at this point is where I just had fun with my wire. So I first went around 2 times. There's twice, right, for my wire wrap loop. Then I'm now going to bring my wire down and kind of just play with it and see what looks, you know, good to me. So I've got my top loop. Okay, that's nice and secure. I'm going to pull this off my plier now. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to kind of hold my loop here. And then I think I'm going to just play with my wire and kind of pull it around over the top of that jasper, right? And then I'm going to come up and around and pull it over the second jasper. So it's an imperial jasper and a zebra jasper, right? And then now I'm in between those 2 bead caps. I am going to take and wind this around nice and tight. And I made like 3 or 4 wraps in between here. Actually more like 5, about 6. And I thought that was cool. I thought that looked cool. What did I do over here? Oh, well, over here I only did about 2. Okay, well that looks cool too, by the way. I thought I filled the whole thing. Let's unwind it. It's okay. So I did about that many, I think. Yeah. Okay, and then we'll just trim it off, guys. We'll trim and tuck. And I just think this is a really unique spin on a really beautiful tassel earring that is a shoulder dust. Shoulder dust is going to trend, by the way, guys, all in 2026. And by the way, speaking of, guys, I have been having some serious issues with all of my technology the last week, and I have not been able to get my trend video up, but I will be getting that up probably. We'll probably end up doing it in January here, the first of the year. So that's coming, guys. My trend video is coming. Not to fear. Okay, I've got all my research done and all my stuff. Okay, so it's coming. It's coming. Okay, guys, and there we go. And so now we just have to make some air wires. And let's see. That's what we have. Let me lay them down. Oh my gosh, so pretty. And it looks like I even went around this one twice. I didn't even notice that either. So that's okay, because they're just, they don't have to be so matchy-matchy. They're just beautiful. Just love these. So that's what they look like. Now I cut my ear wires already, guys. We'll just make some simple ear wires, and we will go ahead. Let's grab our bail making for this. And I cut 2-inch piece of wire, two inches, and then 2 inches for the other pair. So we can just make any kind of good old ear wires. Just maybe come up and around. And I'm always saying make them at the same time. But sometimes I don't like to make them at the same time, to tell you the truth. Because they get wonky. They get weird and wonky. Weird and wonky. There you go. There's our final word of 2025. Weird and wonky. That's about how I'm feeling right at the moment, guys. All right, let's kick that back. Let me grab some pliers for that. And oh, guys, I have some fun new tools that I am going to showcase on the channel. I have not even played with them yet. I'm serious, and I'm so excited, and I can't wait to see what these tools are going to bring my life, which I think is a whole lot easier on working with my wire. And then the second thing, which has been around, I just recently actually found mine because I was in my storage, and I'm like, oh, praise the Lord, there it is. And I won't tell you what it is, but I haven't used it on the channel because I couldn't find where it was. Now I found it, and it's going to be so fun and give us so many more things that we can do. And I'm not going to tell you any more than that, because then it'll be spoiler. Okay, so got my little ear wires on this pair, and let me see what I want to do. These are just cool as a cucumber is what these are. These other ones, I just want to make some short ones for sure. But these right here, I'm thinking I'm going to go down to the bottom here. I think so. I think I'm going to go like that. And then I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to flip it up again. And that'll be cute. Slide those on there. And that would be backwards, so let's put that on the other way. There we go. So, what are you guys doing for New Year's Eve? Did I already ask you guys? What are you guys doing? Are you guys staying home too? I'm past the going out. I definitely would rather be in the comfort of my home watching the ball drop, watching all the fun things. I usually watch tons of music stuff. Love music. So that's kind of my gig this year for sure. So that's what I'm up to. But I will tell you, I'm having steak, shrimp, and I'm popping open that champagne for a party of one. I wish I could have so many of you just right here with me. Wouldn't that be so blissful? We would be having a party like none other. I just know we would, right? I know we would. We would be having a party. We would be having a party up in here. And I would be like, okay, there's only requirement the one requirement, guys, you're not allowed to bring any jewelry. Oh my God. Then what would we ever do? I'll tell you what we would do. We would have a blast. We would have a blast. That's what we would do. Because this is just part of us, right? It's not all of us. It's just part of us. So we would have a blast. Oh, and I'm really into games, guys. I'm really into games. I love board games. I sure do. And card games. Ooh, that game, Never Have I Ever. Oh my gosh, I love that game. Sometimes I I lose that game. I mean, I win that game no matter who's in my presence because it's the Never Have I Ever, right? So it asks you all this crazy things, you know, that are just almost rated PG-13 and R for my channel. And so this is rated G channel. So I can't really say, but you know, it's not like it's bad or really dirty or anything. No, it's not. But it's just, if you guys know know that game, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it is the funnest game ever, and I always win because, yes, there's a lot of no, never have I ever. No, I sure haven't. There's a lot of that in my world of never have I ever. I'm no Prudence Clearwater, I'll tell you that right now. But there's a whole lot of questions in that game that I, thank God, have never ever. That's for sure. Oh, guys. Oh, my friends. Honestly. You know? Let's make these a little shorter for the simple fact these are shoulder duster. And, you know, I don't need them going much longer than that. I sure don't. Let's kick those guys on back and file. But I don't need these going all rogue past some shoulders. Or the general vicinity, anyway. Oh, that's just Wonder Bars. Wonder Bars. These are so beautiful. So I'm just going to kind of go right there. I'm just going to pull this loop in. And then what I'm going to do is put it back in. And then I am going to kick that back and center that loop. Oops. I didn't mean to open it. I meant to center it. There we go. Okay, I think that works. And we'll plop that open. And let's get this guy on here. Oh my goodness. Do we need to turn you? I think so. Maybe this way? No? Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. These are, yeah, guys, I really hope you guys try these earrings. I don't care what beads you have. You guys have got to try these earrings. These are a showstopper. And if you sell your jewelry in your store, Poshmark or eBay, Etsy, or you have a local consignment deal with a local boutique, I am telling you, these are going to fly. These are going to fly right up out of there if you price them right. And to tell you the truth, guys, I would not put these under 22 bucks. If I'm telling you the truth. These are stunning. Stunning. Okay, guys. Yay! Let me clear things away. And say goodbye until the next one, my friends. Happy New Year. Let's look at what we made. Some festive, purple, sparkly New Year earrings. We have our tassel shoulder dust. And we have our teardrop. And we've made our ear wires. I hope you guys enjoyed today's little mini earring bash, and happy New Year's Eve and New Year to each and every one of you. We will see you in my New Year wrap-up video, and for my Sparkle Bake Lunch in a few days, my lovies. Have an awesome, safe evening. Love you guys, and see you in the next one. Be blessed.